West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
25. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. We got a great show for you today. Give you the latest on the James Craig trial. It went to the jury yesterday, but closing arguments were made by both the prosecution and the defense. We'll lay out what they said as they made their final arguments before the jury. And how long do you expect there to be deliberations before it gets to a verdict? We'll discuss that all here in just a few minutes. Coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, is he the father of a saint? Well, John Castillo, father of Kendrick Castillo, is going to join us as the Catholic Church explores potential sainthood for Kendrick Castillo. We'll talk with John in the 7 o'clock hour. We'll get into the EPA and greenhouse decisions, the rescinding of the finding under the Obama administration regarding greenhouse gases and their harm to humanity. And does that open up oil and gas development in America? We'll get into that in the 8 o'clock hour. Plus the Sydney Sweeney ad campaign making lots of waves. There's also a tsunami out there. So, a whole lot to discuss today. We'd love to hear from you. Join the conversation, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Campbell Law text line at 720-819-5115, 720-819-5115. Now it's time, though, for news and comment with Blake Olsen.
Blake Olsen.
Blake Olsen, news and comment.
Good Wednesday morning. 61 with some clouds. Gorgeous outside. Take a step outside and take a walk. It is beautiful. Expecting a high of 80 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, as Jeff just mentioned, a massive earthquake off Russia's coast has triggered tsunami waves across the Pacific. Thankfully, the warnings have been downgraded to advisories for Hawaii, Alaska, and the West Coast. The Fed's decision on interest rates is coming later on today. The central bank is widely expected to keep rates where they are, with no changes seen coming until September at the earliest from too late Jerome Powell. Barry hid the truth from America about Russia because there was nothing there, of course, and tried to overthrow DJT in 2016 with the Clapper, Brennan, and Comey clowns. And DJT appreciates the work of Tulsi Gabbard.
Tulsi's done a great job. You know, there were some people that really wanted Tulsi. They thought she was going to do a fantastic job. And when you look, a lot of people would not have found it. They wouldn't have found it to be politically correct. You find it, okay? It would be easier not to.
And she's tough.
And she's tough, and she's smart, and she did. She went deep into the files, and she found it.
General Flynn's life was almost ruined, and he's been fighting ever since, and he won't stop fighting for the truth.
And here we are. That was early 2017, okay? Now we are in mid-2025, and the coup d'etat against the United States of America, against a duly elected president again, is still underway. And the deep state has not been brought to heel yet. It will only be brought to heel when serious senior people are held to account.
Ghislaine Maxwell's request for immunity in exchange for congressional testimony is being rejected by a House committee. Maxwell's lawyers say she will testify only if granted immunity. Otherwise, she will invoke the Fifth Amendment. The House Oversight Committee ruled out immunity and will respond soon. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell confirms the league is supporting an employee seriously injured in Monday's deadly shooting at NFL headquarters in New York City. 4 people, including an off-duty officer, were killed, of course, and Goodell announced increased security at league offices moving forward. The shooter, Shane Tamura, left a suicide note, once again citing the CTE and hostility toward the NFL. Colorado Parks and Wildlife seeking to kill at least one wolf from the Copper Creek Pack in Pitkin County. CPW says wolves from the pack killed a calf near Aspen earlier in the month. The pack has preyed on livestock in 2 separate counties, which has cattlemen in Pitkin County concerned. CPW is hopeful the lethal removal of some of the wolves will redirect them to prey on deer and elk instead of livestock. Good idea.
Yeah. Hey, Blake.
Right? Yes.
Did you see Aspen now wants to introduce Wolverines?
Oh, no. I did not see that. Wow. So what is that, Aspen now?
Yeah.
Okay.
July 29th,
Wow.
2025, yesterday, Aspen Times.
Okay.
Aspen area included in release zone for Wolverine reintroduction.
Oh.
The Aspen area has been included in one of 3 general release zones for the reintroduction of Wolverines into the state.
My goodness. Wow. Okay. Aspen.
Now Wolverines don't kill livestock nearly at the level that wolves do.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
But they still can, and they definitely prey on dogs. And
Yes.
And so I'm just reading this article going, wolves have been such a great thing for the state of Colorado and have contributed so much and haven't cost really anything at all. Let's just keep introducing more and more predators. Just,
Let's
why not?
bring it.
What other ones can we come up with?
Let's go. Well, nobody in Aspen has poodles or anything walking around.
Yeah, that's right. And I was trying to think of other animals. What are those dragons? Might as well.
Oh, there you go.
Why not introduce those? How about
Why do you
more
think
poisonous spiders? Why don't and snakes and stuff around the state?
I mean, what's the bottom line? Why are they so passionate about it, do you think? Reinstituting
I guess
all
Wolverines used to. It's kind of like this. They have this mentality. Whatever used to be here, we need to put some energy in bringing back. That's one of the reasons. I guess Wolverines used to be here. So, goodness, let's bring them back.
Now,
Let's spend taxpayer dollars to do it.
Yeah, let's do it. That's the issue right there. If you could pay for it out of your own pocket, why don't you, try to do that on your own land and contain it.
I don't know in what world, with all the problems and all the challenges we're facing, Wolverine reintroduction becomes a priority.
Yeah, that's odd. How about we try to figure out the homeless people walking around and
they figured that out in Aspen.
Yeah,
they just don't allow it.
They don't allow it. Exactly. Send it down to Glenwood Springs.
Right. No, Bill, I want to bring you in on this quick discussion because you're an animal kind of expert, at least with one.
I thought you were going to say
species.
he was homeless. No.
Wolverines. I mean, any thoughts on those being introduced to Aspen?
No, I don't see any problem with it, really, as far as entering them into the ecosystem. We have predators that exist all the time. I mean, I live in suburban Colorado, and we have coyotes. Those are predators. So, the humans, we have encroached in some of the areas inside of where the Wolverines live. There are only a few hundred that I'm aware of in the States. And, it is for me, somewhat of a minimal effort in order to bring them back into the ecosystem, and they are an apex predator. And so they do have a place inside of the ecosystem. And we have coyotes in my neighborhood, so we are careful with our cats. Okay, the thing is that when you live in Colorado, and especially you go and you live in the mountains, feeling that you need to be free from all possible predation, go live in a bubble. Sorry, go live in a bubble. Go do that. You want to be away from all the predators, go live in a bubble. Find that somewhere, something like that. Because I'm in the suburbs, and we still have predators running around. I mean, so what are you looking at? We got raccoons running through our neighborhoods.
It's been since 1919 that Colorado's had wolverines. I just don't understand reintroducing them, like making the effort. Again, I said this with wolves. All right, if they come into Colorado, so be it. I'm not saying we need to go out there and hunt them, destroy them, get rid of them, but to use state resources and energy, and there's somebody out there that just said, this is a really good idea. I'm just intrigued by the entire effort to reintroduce another predator that hasn't been here in over 100 years.
Again, the part for me is how much as far as the efforts being taken place. I don't have anything wrong with it because they're a natural predator. They help the ecosystem and the environment, and we're losing them. There are only a few hundred that I'm aware of across the U.S. So those type of species, I think they're valuable. I think they have a place in the ecosystem. We've disrupted that. I don't see anything wrong necessarily with trying to reintroduce them. And here's the thing. If we are going to spend resources on things like reintroducing a wolverine, I would much prefer that than $3 million being spent on a don't eat meat campaign. So if we're talking about priorities,
that's true.
I wouldn't want to spend that money on the birthday bridge. If we're spending money on reintroducing the wolverines, I'm okay with introducing a predator. I mean, we're not releasing them down at Cherry Creek Mall. We're releasing them in what would be their natural habitat. And I'm sorry, but sooner or later, as humans, we need to understand that if we are in this animal's natural habitat, we do have the ability to deal with it, etc. And ranchers have been dealing with predators for years. But we don't go into the water and think we need to kill all the sharks because they eat us sometimes. That's kind of the issue, is the idea that if you are going to live in those areas, there are going to be challenges and issues. Ranchers have dealt with coyotes and wolves for decades. And so I do have a critique of it being too hard on the ranchers to get reimbursed for their animals that are being taken by the wolves. I think that's really silly. I think it's been much, much, much too difficult and too onerous on them. That's where the money should be spent. And I think we're spending too much time and effort to try to reintroduce the wolves here because they will run into natural predators and natural issues as well. Animals die real quickly in the wild. Happens all the time. And that's it. I mean, wolverines have gigantic territories, too. So it's not as if they're going to necessarily be camping out underneath the ski slopes in Aspen all the time. So that's the thing, is I'm not that worried about it.
I'm not so sure about
I've been up in the mountains, and we have houses, and this is in what would be considered a small town, and we have to have locks on our trash cans because of the bears. I've seen bears less than 20 feet from me trying to break into a trash can. Luckily, I am about 25 feet in the air, so bear can't get to me and I'm inside a house, but they're that close, right outside. That's a huge, giant predator. But we live in that area. So what I'm curious about us as humans thinking the one thing that I need to be free of is predation and the wild animals in the area in which I've moved into. I don't understand that issue. I don't understand that issue.
I see it differently. I just don't understand reintroducing predators back into the community. It's like, you know what we should do? Add more black widows to our community.
What would be the reason, though? I mean, if you tell me why,
all right,
you're
because
me what the
they're
black
natural,
widows are
and I guess
do.
they help the environment. All the same arguments you just laid out.
Not necessarily, because black widows aren't an apex predator. I mean, we could talk about reintroducing bats because bats take care of eating insects in certain areas. Yeah. I know, but bats do transmit diseases. And so there are some. So the idea of those. So if you want to make the argument of, okay, we need to introduce more poisonous spiders, well, tell me what population they're going to control. What is the thing that we're outside of. So what I'm assuming is the people that want to introduce their Wolverines, we are looking to add more apex predators into that area because they'll kill things like, the small rabbits, the rodents, those type of things that if you have larger populations, yeah. I mean, I grew up in a house that was built in late 30s to early 40s, and we always had a bit of a mouse problem until my bull snake started getting out regularly. And the bull snake would get out and eat the mice in the house. That controlled the population of the mice in the house. It was introducing a predator into the ecosystem. She then would show up several days later, fat and happy, right near the front door. So that was a tiny ecosystem in which we introduced a predator, and it took care of the mice. Never had any mouse problems. My mom was super scared about the fact that the snake was getting out until the mice disappeared. Then she was like, well, okay.
Well, the text messages are hot on this one.
Oh, good.
Love it.
8422 saying instead of bringing back Wolverines, how about we bring back a real endangered species to Colorado Republicans?
Yes.
Release them.
Yeah.
I just want to see that video
Scales
of releasing
and
them
all.
into the wild. You have tags on their ears, and you have a cage, and you release them, and then they
Absolutely.
run out. Yeah, exactly.
That'd be great.
Although you got to release them on the Pearl Street Mall, so they're as confused as most of the wildlife when they run out.
Yes.
Wait, is that patchouli oil?
Absolutely.
Do I smell patchouli? Where the hell are we? That's what'll happen.
I love that idea.
2983 saying I'd love to hike and track and see Wolverines. That'd be a lot of fun. Jason in Denver, it's the Cougars of Aspen that want the real Wolverines up there.
Yes, they do. And they want those, and they also want the Wolverines, and they want the Cornhuskers, and the Spartans, and they want those college guys.
I love it. Have you heard what PETA is doing in Maine?
What?
PETA sues the Maine Lobster Festival, accusing it of torturing lobsters by boiling 16,000 alive each year. The animal rights group is seeking a permanent injunction to stop the steaming of live lobsters on public land during the annual event.
Wow. See, this is the part for me where I'm not, I'm not on the animal rights activist thing. I'm like, no, this is okay. I'm okay. I'm okay with boiling the giant sea bugs. I'm okay with that. Because they are. They're giant sea bugs.
Yeah, they
You put
are.
them on land, they'd be scary as
Absolutely.
hell. But, but they're in the sea, and we're like, those are cute and delicious. Yeah. If you want to talk about, like, being scared of things like black widows, imagine if you would get into your garage and there would be, like, a land lobster there. You'd be like, oh, this is not the case. I'm sorry, kids, we're moving. Just put the house up for sale. We're out of here. That's it. Scary to death.
I love it. All right, I'll close it out with this. CU running back Charlie Offerdahl, one of those guys who is what college football is all about. Played at Dakota Ridge High School in Colorado, one of the few actual Coloradans on CU's football team. Stepping away from football, he's on track to graduate in December and has 1 year of eligibility remaining. Offerdahl plans to attend dental school following his graduation in Boulder. His dad is a great dentist, great family, the Offerdalls. So good luck to him. Rockies lost to the Guardians 10-4. Back at it this afternoon. 59 in Castle Rock, 60 in Arvada, 61 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olsen, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Monsoonal moisture is back, and it's here to stay for a while. Expect partly cloudy to mostly cloudy today, upper 80s, kind of muggy with afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms, lower 60s tonight. Highs will stay in the lower 80s Wednesday through Friday with a daily chance of thunderstorms each day, lingering till evening. Weather is a service of L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
arguments were made in the James Craig trial that took place last few weeks or so here in Denver, Colorado. This is the dentist that allegedly poisoned his wife with cyanide-laced protein shakes, and then, according to the prosecution, likely injected her with cyanide as she was in the hospital in an effort to finish her off. Prosecutors saying in their closing arguments, James Craig was a man on a mission. Angela Craig is innocent. She had no part in her death, and the only person who says otherwise is this man, as the prosecutor pointed towards James Craig. This is from Channel 7. Prosecutors had said throughout the trial, witnesses for the people have unraveled 3 different false narratives offered by the suspect. That Angela Craig's death was an intentional suicide, that it was a, quote, game of chicken, the two were playing with each other, and that Angela wanted to frame her husband in her death. After presenting those 3 narratives, Morrow said they all cannot be true, and none of them are. Prosecution argued that James Craig knew the jig was up when his former business partner confronted him about purchasing cyanide and when the family home was sealed by investigators. According to the prosecution, James Craig was aware that law enforcement might find the drugs at the home that were used and injected with cyanide and a syringe in the hospital. So he writes the iPhone timeline, which we talked about yesterday, which was a 4-page document that he introduced to the investigators that admits he was involved in the poisoning. So he knew the jig was up, created this document, and introduced it. Prosecutors have claimed James Craig filled drugs that were initially prescribed to deal with a sinus infection with cyanide. The 2023 prescription was never discovered by law enforcement. Investigators have also argued James Craig used a syringe to administer a lethal dose of cyanide when she was hospitalized. And then they do a good job of kind of breaking down what the possible motives were. So, the prosecution argues there were 3 possible motives for why James Craig killed his wife. First, James Craig wanted out of his marriage. James Craig was tired of getting caught in affairs, of repeating the cycle, but did not want to get a divorce. I think the evidence shows that he had half a dozen or so mistresses over the 10 years between the first discovery of the affairs and then the death of Angela Craig. Number 2, money. Prosecutors said financial concerns are a reason why James Craig did not want to get a divorce. He told one of his romantic partners that he was not happy, but he was stuck and could not get a divorce. And then third, and we talked about this, Bill, image. James Craig did not want to be the guy who left the mother of his 6 children to go out and chase other women, said the prosecution. He continued to claim that the suspect thought it would be much better to be the grieving widower and chase sympathy instead.
Yeah, I think that's where he was going with this one. Yeah.
And those 3 reasons were all laid out in evidence. And the prosecution did a good job, right? He wanted out of his marriage. He had a number of affairs taking place, many of them overlapping. 2, he was out of money. And dude made a lot of money. I mean, in one case, $66,000 in 1 month.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Except if you have half dozen women you're trying to support on the side, that's going to go quick.
Yeah, and that also, to me, explains why, just personally, why the divorce wasn't necessarily an option for him, because part of what he was doing is talking to these women and other people about the amount of money that he made. And part of the lure was, I mean, he bought, as we have introduced in testimony inside the case, he bought one of the side pieces' kids a $9,000 used car. Sorry, if dude you're dating can drop 9 G's on buying your kid a car, there is some motivation there as far as the relationship. And if you're dating someone who can't, but the other part that I'm sure James Craig was going through is he would still be doing all of the work, but not getting all of the money that he was used to. And that was something psychologically he just couldn't stand. And so rather than doing the honorable thing and doing the divorce, he decided to kill her. But again, I think it's in part because of that financial component, that when he was the doctor that was pulling in the big paycheck, that can be very attractive and can be alluring if you're out there fishing for women. You can ask anybody. Just say, you go down, you hit Elways or Shanahan's, to refer to stuff we were doing with Blake earlier today, and say, hi. Yes, exactly. I'm a second stringer for the Broncos versus, I work over there at Macy's in retail. Which one's going to get you the more women? Which one? It's going to be pretty easy. So that's going to be part of it. Or even walk down there and say, hi, I'm a dentist. Don't even have to be a successful dentist. Or, hi, I'm the shift manager over at the Whole Foods. Which one's going to bring the women? That's that simple. It's that simple. It really is. So, and it sucks. But I just can't figure out. The defense seemed to be, well, it could be any of these. You choose. That was interesting. But defenses do that quite often. I thought that was interesting.
Well, and the prosecution rebuts that by saying, and they said this yesterday, that it's not reasonable doubt that the defense is arguing. It's speculative doubt, which is, we're just going to kind of sprinkle lots of different potential and hope one of them connects with the jury. Maybe just one, because we only need one person. But we're just going to kind of speculate about what else could be going on, not provide a reasonable alibi or doubt or anything like that. They also argue, Angela Craig was not participating in, quote, a super secret suicide pact and had no clue about what Jim Craig's plans were with regards to poisoning. Angela Craig's search history on her phone revealed a number of entries related to her symptoms and trying to figure out what was wrong with her. If you believe James Craig, the prosecution said, that was all an act then. Angela Craig would have had to been working to deceive everyone in her life and anybody that would have come across her phone in the future. This is all just an act, just her flawlessly committing to the bit, prosecution said, if you believe James Craig. And he was just, the dentist, a reluctant participant in this web of suicide pact chicken that Angela Craig was weaving together. Is this man a reluctant part of a super secret suicide pact? Or a man on a mission? Great closing lines from the prosecution. They say this is not a reluctant person. James Craig was intent on killing his wife, purchased 12 bottles of eye drops. He is a man on a mission. Sends more than a dozen text messages to employees about a cyanide package that he was expecting to receive at his office, all while telling Angela Craig he loved her and was excited to have her home again. James Craig was texting all while doing this, his romantic partners at the same time. There are so many false statements by this defendant, it's tough to keep track, said the prosecution. You have to believe that Angela Craig kept an incredibly dark secret, left no evidence whatsoever of this secret, acted completely out of character, deceived everyone. You'd have to believe that suddenly she went 180 degrees from her nature, that Angela Craig was ready, willing, and able to die a slow and painful death, and ready to abandon her children.
Yeah,
that's a strong line, Bill.
It's a really strong line. The idea of abandoning your children. The other one that I think is powerful is texting partners. The plural, I think, is important in that timeline. Yeah. And we didn't see it quoted in the article, but also the reference of Angela looking for the reasons why she was feeling so bad.
Correct.
If she was involved in the suicide game of chicken, she would know. She wouldn't have to do any searching. And it's odd that the one person doing the searching about what will kill someone as far as poisoning, etc., It's Dr. Craig, not the wife who he's claiming has suicidal ideation. And every other person that I know in my life that has had suicidal ideation has done the searching. They haven't asked somebody else because, it's something first they deal with, and then they share it with someone. It's first them. I don't know a single person in my life that has danced close to the idea of committing suicide that hasn't first started searching themselves. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying that from my experience, it's very, very, very unusual behavior, because that's not something you normally share with someone and then ask them to go and search for it. It's normally something that you explore first and then later share with someone. That's normally the pattern. I just don't see anything that we've seen so far inside of the court testimony or anything that has been presented as evidence that shows that Angela, the wife of Dr. James Craig, was interested in killing herself. And again, as the prosecution said, abandoning her children, which I think is a very important component in this. You'd have to convince me that she is ready to leave behind her 6 children. And again, it's the idea of not being able to see them get married, not seeing them walk the stage of graduation, not seeing the grandkids, all of those things, not being able to celebrate those special moments in their lives as they grow. And Jeff, you and I know as a parent, that's important. Being there for your kids' special events becomes very important in your life. We all know there's a reason why high school and college graduations are done the way they are. Not because of the students. That's because of the parents. Those ceremonies are entirely done that way for the parents. The students have very little interest in doing that ceremony that day. It's for the parents. That's why we're there.
So the defense responds in their closing arguments and says, look, it wasn't a perfect marriage. We're not admitting that it was a perfect marriage, but the prosecution has not proved definitively exactly when James Craig poisoned his wife, how he poisoned his wife. A lot of it is speculation. For instance, you don't have the pills laced with cyanide. And if he really did inject his wife, why did he go out and try to get the nurses to come in and help at that point? The prosecution gives a rebuttal timeline, and I think this is really important because it lays out how it all happened. Okay? February 25th, James Craig returns from Las Vegas, and he had met a lady there. They went up to a room and made out. Not his wife, not James Craig's wife, met another lady and starts texting her that he's falling in love with her 24 hours after they made out.
Right, and he's still texting another side piece as well that he's already got on the hook. They had on the hook before he went to Vegas. So while he is expressing his romantic intentions and feelings to the woman he met in Vegas, at the same time, he is texting another woman about a relationship they're having outside of his marriage. I think that's vitally important, that the time in which the guy is expressing love, he's also cheating on the new chick he's saying he loves. I think that's really important in this entire timeline. Okay, sorry, continue.
Yep. So February 25th, he returns home. February 27th, 2 days later, the woman that he had met in Las Vegas, Dr. Karen Kane, books a trip to Colorado. And the suspect starts to research poisons, orders arsenic. So this is 2 days after he returns home from Vegas. They're already planning to be back together. They're exchanging lots of text messages. In fact, 4,000 text messages will be exchanged in just 3 weeks. So 25th, he comes home. 27th, they start to plan. He starts to order arsenic. On the 28th, James Craig continues to search online for poisons. March 1st, James Craig continues to search online for poisons. March 4th, the arsenic arrives. On March 6th, Angela Craig's life changes after James Craig makes a smoothie. She starts to get sick and never recovers. On March 8th, James Craig orders cyanide and buys 12 bottles of Visine. On March 9th, Angela Craig goes to the ER. On March 10th, James Craig goes to a distributor of lab products from which James Craig had allegedly ordered potassium cyanide. On March 11th, James Craig spends the whole day trying to get a cyanide package. On March 13th, cyanide arrives. On March 14th, James Craig allegedly gives Angela Craig another smoothie, this one containing Visine, that night. On March 15th, James Craig tells his brother-in-law to give Angela Craig some prescription pills to help her with her sinus effect, that prosecutors believe the pills were filled with cyanide. She crashes later that day in the hospital after investigators argued James Craig administered a lethal dose of cyanide. March 17th, Bill, he goes out on a date with the woman from Las Vegas.
Jeez. God, that's awful. That's just, yeah. There are no words there. But this is, he does this in his, Again, what I keep coming back to is in some of those text messages, he talks about going back home to deal with a problem.
Yeah.
And the problem that I've got with that, I didn't mean to use the word intentionally there, but here we are. The issue being when he's going home, he's searching for drugs that are undetectable in medical tests, post-mortem. He's searching for doses. The thing he's not searching for is psychological help for his wife, who supposedly is dealing with suicide, and he's not searching for divorce lawyers. The only thing that we have in evidence that he's searching for are ways to kill someone. Nothing else. So when he talks about going home to deal with a problem, from what we're seeing, where did he focus his energy? The problem was, in my mind, my conclusion is, just sitting here behind the microphone, that his problem was to get rid of his wife. And it wasn't through counseling, and it wasn't through divorce. The only avenue that we see that he has explored, and the defense has not offered any other possible avenue, is the exploration of someone's death. We haven't seen anything else.
Correct.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge problem. Huge problem in this case for the defense.
Prosecution saying he was a man on a mission. Spent 10 days killing his wife, and then once she's dead, goes out on a date with the woman.
Jeez. I mean, that's not
that he
even...
was having an affair with.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, no, not really the grieving husband.
No, not at all. Not at all. And again, that was part of what the prosecution was talking about, is that he was motivated because he didn't want to, have to be the divorce person. He wanted to be that husband that got the sympathy because, she was gone. But, oh, my God. That's awful. I can't believe he goes on the date afterwards. That's just... I've got no words. I have no words for that. What do you say to that? What do you do? What do you do if you found out that... I mean, think about if it was just your buddy that did... And again, take the murder aspect out of it. Just right? say that it is a horrible, horrible tragedy.
Car
it could
accident,
be anything.
Something
Car
like that.
accident.
Right.
Yeah. Brain aneurysm.
Going
crash,
out to celebrate?
Heart attack. It could be anything. And then within 24 hours, you're out on a date with another woman. Wow. Just, wow. That's one that for the prosecution I would have spent some time hanging my hat on. Really focusing on. Here's the person that's so worried about it and so concerned about his kids, so concerned about that he's doing this. This is the behavior. And it's a woman that he knew beforehand, too. So, yeah, great. No words.
So it's been sent to the jury. Jury's deliberating. They started yesterday. No word yet. Bill, you think a long deliberation process here?
I would think no, but I wasn't in the court. So I don't know what someone is doing behind the scenes. I don't know what's going on in the deliberation room. My guess, I mean, I can't see why. If I was in that jury room, I can't see why we're not back by lunch today. But that's me. I mean, I've obviously come to a conclusion, but again, I wasn't part of the jury pool, so I have no idea. That's where I sit based on the information. But then again, I thought that Sean Combs was going to get convicted on more than just one charge based on what we'd seen. So that would not listen to me at all in this situation. But I would have voted guilty already. But again, not in the jury room. We'll see. How long do you think it's going to take, Jeff? What do you think? What would be your over-under? Do you think it's today, tomorrow? How many days?
I think today, right?
Yeah.
The only place where I could see them getting hung up is on some of the other charges, if they had to get some clarification on that, right? So not only has he been charged with the murder of his wife and the poisoning and all that came with it, but then also attempting to solicit people to go kill the detective in this case. So he's writing letters and sending them to, like, not just people that were in the jail cell with him, but the spouses of the people that he was in the jail cell with. And then he's trying to get his kids in to plant evidence, to do all that. So that's where it gets a little murky, and you're kind of like, well, is this the right thing to find him guilty on? Or, you know, and there's a lot of other charges involved with it. So as the jury works through all that, I could see it getting a little bit delayed. But when it comes to the big kahuna, the big charge of first-degree murder of his wife, that is guilty, guilty, guilty all day and twice on Sunday. And I think he should lose his life via the death penalty in any other state over what he did to Angela Craig. But in this state, now he'll live a comfortable life, and rando weird women will write love letters to him for the rest of his life. So, you know, it's disappointing that the punishment isn't going to be as severe as it should be for James Craig. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. But I think they're curious. I would hope they'd be back by today. If not, does it draw in some questions that maybe the defense did a good enough job? Maybe there's stuff that we didn't consider, didn't see in the reporting that gave them pause. That would be interesting. Maybe we have to start checking what did resonate with the jury if it lasts longer than today. Maybe we have to rethink our assumptions. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. If this comes back not guilty, I will there's going to be a lot of assumptions I'm going to have to explore because I'm sitting here reading the day after day after day descriptions of what's happening in the courtroom. It gets worse. He looks worse. The amount of women he was seeing on the side, the amount of money he was spending on the side, his devious planning to order poison, all of that. And for a jury to go back and go, there's reasonable doubt here. And this guy walks? Goodness. Yeah. I'll be shocked. Well, we'd love to have you join the conversation. Give us a call on 303-696-1971 or text us on the Dan Kaplan Law text line at 720-819-5115, 720-819-5115. We've got You Choose the News coming up. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Jeff and Bill Show. Text message is hot with the ladies saying James Craig deserves to get poisoned the same way he poisoned Angela Craig. Kill him that way. Make him suffer over 10 days.
Well, y'all have surprised me, although I'm not arguing with you. I'm not saying you got a bad idea. I'm just saying, like, okay, I can get there with you. I can go there. I can go there with the idea of revenge. I can get there. But I appreciate that. That's nice.
Yeah, that would be justice, in my mind. All right, now it's some time for You Choose the News.
Yes, it's that time of the morning where we play everybody's favorite fake radio news game show. It's You Choose the News. I've spent mere moments this morning scouring the interwebs to find really dumb stories about us humans, to give them fake radio headlines so we can play this game show. Why would we do this and waste time at 6:51 in the morning? Well, because those in charge don't wake up until 7. So while we are left unsupervised, yes, Jeff and I will take full advantage. Okay, and as always, this is a secret. Do not share. And Blake Olsen is joining us from the news department. Gentlemen, here are this morning's headlines. Headline number 1, searching for Jesus. Headline number 2, old school, new problem. Headline number 3, browsing the merchandise. And headline number 4, in the zone. Mr. Hunt, your choice, sir.
In honor of James Craig, let's browse the merchandise.
Yes, let's browse the merchandise. Here we find ourselves in Burbank, California. Police in California recently arrested a registered sex offender because he was bothering the women in a local Nordstrom's rack. What was he doing? He was sniffing their buttocks. Yes, the 38-year-old was arrested after police received reports of a suspicious man lingering around the women's section and then bending over and... Oh, yeah, that's the good stuff. Yeah, police searched through the shopping center, did not find him there. They actually located him inside a nearby Walmart. Investigators say they went to surveillance camera footage from the Nordstrom rack, and they showed him, yes, he would crouch behind women and sniff their buttocks. He was charged with counts of loitering with intent to commit a crime. Not the first time he's done it. One of his earlier alleged victims back in 2021 said, he was doing the same thing, but this time it wasn't Nordstrom's rack, it was Barnes & Noble. She said he was sniffing his buttocks then, too. So he kind of has a thing. Yeah, I know. But at least he's upscaling. He's going from Barnes & Noble to Nordstrom rack and just, it's a different level of perfume they're using there.
Remember Michelle, the lady that held down the dude?
Yes.
That was taking pictures?
Yep.
Yeah, we just need to unleash
her.
Yeah,
same kind of thing. Yeah. In fact, the gal that...
She studies jiu-jitsu, by the way. She's tough.
And the gal that caught the guy in 2021 that we were just talking about, she filmed him as well. That's how he was caught in the Barnes & Noble. Yeah. Alrighty. Blake Olsen, sir, searching for Jesus, old school, new problem, or in the zone?
Searching for Jesus.
Yes, we got to search for Jesus. A former Western Slope deputy is on the run, facing dozens of charges stemming from alleged child sex abuse material. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation is searching for Jesus. Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. It's Jesus Damian Nables, 28 years old. They're searching for Jesus. Sorry, I read that incorrectly. That's my fault on your broadcaster today. Yeah, sure. Okay. San Miguel County Sheriff's Office said they employed him until June when he resigned. He's facing 28 felony counts of sexual exploitation of a child, 27 misdemeanor counts of persons required to report child abuse or neglect. They say that he had 27 pieces of child sex abuse material in his possession, but the only silver lining is there's no indication any of the children are from San Miguel County, where the alleged victims of the abuse seems to be. He was outsourcing his abuse. So if there's anything to take from this, but they're looking for him. So yes, if you see Jesus, you got to call CBI. I mean, Jesus. So yeah, that's the thing. Not cool. And that's here in Colorado. Alrighty. Final choice this morning, Mr. Hunt. Old school, new problem, or in the zone?
In the zone.
Yes, in the zone. Despite decades of evidence, well, Nintendo says, no. They're just in the zone. We're referring to the relationship between Princess Peach and Mario. Recently, Nintendo said their relationship status is not complicated. It's solidly in the friend zone. In the last 24 hours, a Nintendo Today app said Princess Peach and Mario, and I'm quoting, are good friends and help each other out whenever they can.
Lame.
Well, it sounds like a friends with benefits relationship, honestly. I don't know about this.
You're gonna be a guy that climbs through fire and jumps over pits and all that for
Dude, you tell me about
a friend?
Exactly. Here's the thing. Here's the weird thing. Now, shout out to all my gamer friends out there, and those of you that have gone hard with the Mario over the course of the years. I'm one of you as well. This flies in the face of, well, all Mario lore. Peach frequently gives Mario kisses.
Yes.
Also, he tries to propose to her in Super Mario Odyssey. Fantastic game, by the way. Absolutely rocking game. And back in Mario Party 5, they were called the cutest couple and celebrated Valentine's Day with a photo in 2014. So yes, there's been a relationship. I think maybe that there might be some problems in the relationship, and they're trying to work things out. Maybe they're seeing counselors. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But
in the movie, isn't Bowser like in love with Peach too?
Yeah, in the movie, he's trying to. That's why he kidnapped her. That's the whole kind of thing.
And what's that song?
It.
Peaches, 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 peaches.
Actually, I don't know the song. I'm impressed you're singing it though.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to remember the lyrics.
They're really difficult to master. It's difficult.
Yeah, the idea that Mario and Peach are just friends.
I know, that's ridiculous. There's no way. None of us believe that. No. There have been kisses for years. There have been, and again, Mario Odyssey, that's a fantastic game. But still, again, I
gotta learn more about this game.
The games are fantastic. Alrighty, that's it. That's the Idiot Choose News. Back to you, sir.
All right, we've got John Castillo, father of Kendra Castillo, coming up next. Could we end up with a saint from Colorado? You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.